Welcome to the beargrease render. Man, the deer stories episodes are some of my favorite of the whole year because I get to go and talk to all these people and cherry pick their stories. That's what you do. But usually, what I don't say to the guys that I'm talking to, like Mo, is that you got to go through a bunch of duds to cherry pick the one that you pick. Is that right, Mo?
That's right. That's right.
How many duds did you have?
That's basically. I won't tell how many he's thrown in the trash.
No. Actually, what's interesting is that to me, when you tell somebody, "Tell me your best deer story," that means something different to everybody. Somebody might tell you the most like sentimental story that they have. They might tell you about like the first deer their son ever killed, or they may tell you a story about how their uncle poached a deer when they were 9 years old, and something just like off the wall. You'd be surprised how many times that happens. And I go, man, that's a great story. Do you have another one that we could celebrate, on the platform of American hunting culture?
Game and fish violation.
Yeah. But a good deer
Is there a
story.
statute of limitations on stories, like when you do something that violates a law?
Well, there's a bear grease code of honor. Like, we've told illegal stories on this hunting podcast.
It's true.
I mean, when we talked about Louisdale and Charlie Edwards, there were a lot of illegal hunting stories. Andy Brown talked about his dad running over a deer being run by dogs back in the 60s in Polk County,
Arkansas. Because he didn't have time
Arkansas.
to shoot it. He run it down with a truck.
He did. I mean, it was, but we justified it based upon the intent and the intangibles that it brought to us understanding where we're at today. So when Andy Brown told about his dad shooting deer with the .22 and all this stuff, it made sense because now we're like, man, how much further have we come along that we're most hunters are thinking about conservation and the law, compared to back when it was kind of just a suggestion.
Yeah.
So the answer is yes. There's a gray line.
I think the thing I love about the deer stories is it is kind of, you're looking for the intangible things about it. Like, there's that when you sit around a campfire at deer camp, there's that one guy that you just can't wait for him to tell any story. Like the story of going to the porta potty before he goes to the deer stand is going to be good.
Yeah.
And we get to have the creme de la creme of all the deer stories. So yeah, it's a lot of good stuff.
Yeah. Well, I better introduce my guests. I've got Bear John Newcomb here. And then we got Josh Spillmaker.
Present.
Mo Shepherd. I don't even need to introduce you, Mo.
I'm here, though.
I may not even tell you something really nice that someone said about you. I
hear it all the
not.
time, so it don't really matter.
Remind me what Lake Pickle said about Mo
Oh,
Shepherd.
really?
Oh, Lake Pickle.
Lake Pickle.
But our guest of honor, you didn't know it, Shane. You've been tricked. You're the guest of honor. This is my longtime buddy, Shane Almond. It's funny. I hadn't seen Shane in many years. Like, just like an hour ago, I was like, man, you got old.
No,
he was like, he said that to me. He said, you got old. But no, man, me and Shane, we go pretty far back.
Yeah.
We've been to Canada together. I feel like we've done a lot of stuff together over the years.
Yeah, we done quite a bit of running around, turkey hunting, bear hunting.
Yep.
Worked some shows together when you was doing the Arkansas Bear and Buck Journal before you bought Bear Hunting Magazine. So
yeah. No, so listen, y'all, you might not know this. Bear, let me paint a picture for you about how the world used to be. Okay,
got it.
We used to live for this time of year for Walmart to get those. See those DVDs up there?
Yep.
Did we not, Shane?
We did. That's a fact.
Mo?
Went through a bunch of them.
I mean, because you wouldn't even, the world did not have much of an internet presence. And so now people that are interested in hunting or interested in kayaking or interested in cars or painting their nails or whatever people are interested in, you can watch it every day of the year and there's all this content. Used to, it wasn't that way. And in the fall, usually late August, maybe the 1st of September, if they were late, they'd put on the shelves hunting DVDs from Primos to HS Strut,
Night and Hail.
Night and Hail. Who
bought a
were
bunch of those.
the Drury's? Who else were some of the good ones?
Well, then you had Fitzgerald and Noel
Yep.
Feather.
Yep, that's going way back.
Yeah, Barry and Gene Wenzel. They had probably some of the best ones. Bow hunting October whitetails.
Yeah.
Were really good. But yeah, there was a lot of them.
Well, okay. The first time I ever saw Shane, he was on one of those DVDs.
What?
Yeah, Shane was.
You didn't tell us we had a celebrity here.
Oh, big time, big time.
No wonder he's
No.
a guest of honor.
See, you didn't know I had somebody in my back pocket, did you? No, Shane. Tell me a little bit. Like you hunted with HS. Was it the
Hunter
Specialties?
Yeah. So back in that, so early 2000s, a good friend of mine, Philip Vanderpool, which lived there at home, which he'd always been obsessed with videography type work, still pictures and stuff, and hunted a lot. So he got into kind of freelance videoing, and we hunted quite a bit together. We killed a few. He videoed me killing a few bears. It was featured on a couple of videos, and then he got a role working for Hunter Specialties, just freelance selling, getting content for them and selling to them. So the first few years that we done that, I was the one that was drawing tags, somewhere in the Midwest. So it'd either be like Kansas, Iowa, Illinois, wherever. And, that was kind of the deal. He would, I was just wanting to go hunting and he was wanting the video. So it worked out good for both. I was getting to hunt, which we wasn't going on any guided hunts. I mean, everything we was doing was on public or permission land at that time. And then, so be it there. One of the years I was fortunate enough to kill a really good deer that was actually the covered video.
That's what I was going to say. I
the,
bet money I've got that DVD up there somewhere.
Yeah, and that was a piece of property. It was just like today. I mean, we pulled up and talked to a guy, and he said, "Yeah, you can hunt," which everybody had asked. He let hunt, and I don't know how we was able to beat our way in there and around everybody else and end up killing a super nice deer.
How big was the deer?
172.
Holy
172.
smokes.
Yeah.
Big one.
Yeah,
pretty good deer for a redneck from Arkansas. So,
and then you hunted and filmed with Hunter Specialties for quite a few years.
Yeah, 4 or 5, something like that. And yeah,
that's the way I would have known you. I was like, hey, there's this Arkansas guy over there that's filming for Hunter Specialties.
yes.
And then you shot professional archery.
Yes, done a lot of archery shooting through the years. Shot a lot of ASA and IBO tournaments. Was on Matthew's shooting staff for several years. It's a good time. Met a lot of great people doing that. Still haven't done that in a while. Just life got in the way, doing other things. And so,
So, man, Bear, you should get Shane to watch you shoot 2 or 3 shots, man. He's a pro. I taught Shane a lot of what he knows.
Not about bow hunting.
Well, that's what I'm talking about, Mo. But I'm sure that he could transfer some of that knowledge back to you as a pro shooter.
Yeah.
But
matter of fact, I just remembered. So I went to, I believe it was in 2007-ish. Was in Vegas shooting, and just so happened Wayne Endicott was on the line with me. I think you was up at Wayne's shop.
Yes,
super good
up in
dude.
Oregon.
Yeah, super good dude. But yeah, he was. I've shot a few tournaments with him, and he was just always a pleasure to be around. Super good, which they all are. But that's
did you ever beat any of the real well-known guys? Just like one time or one shot that you'd like to highlight?
Oh no, yeah, probably a couple of times. There's some of them that I had.
This is your chance to be like, man, one time I beat Levi Morgan.
No,
one shot.
I had never shot against Levi, but you do have some really good shooters right here in your backyard that travel and still shoot professionally today.
Yeah.
One of them's a friend of mine, Nathan Brooks.
Yep. Yeah, me and Nathan go way, way, way back. We run the roads a lot, and when we was in our early 20s, so 30 years ago, we done lots of traveling.
Yeah, and now you own a company called Muzzleloader
Magnum products.
Magnum
Yeah.
muzzleloader Magnum products.
Yeah.
Known as MMP.
Correct. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's y'all make now. Shane taught me the correct way to say the word sabot.
It's always been a mystery to me.
How do you say it, Shane?
Sabot.
No,
Yes.
that's never been on the list of options.
Actually, I was going to call it a sabot.
Yeah, Sabot or Sabot depends on what part of the world or
Now,
what
do you
part of
call
Sabot.
it? Do you call a coos deer a or a cow's deer?
a coos deer.
Okay, and then you call a sabot a.
Sabot.
Sabot.
The average hillbilly would call it a sabot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, that's what Mo calls it, right,
yeah,
Mo?
it's a sabot.
Yeah. Well, this guy makes them, and his company 30 years ago. I mean, y'all created the sabot.
Correct. So
Sabot.
Sabo.
Sabot.
So in 1985, so Dale Ramsey was the original founder. Dale was a lifelong friend of mine. I've known him since I was a kid, and he was an injection molder by trade. That's what he done, and he got interested in muzzleloaders. Well, back at that time, there was really no good bullets. It's just a cast lead bullet. Well, he got to wanting to do something different.
I mean, guys were just had these old like Hawkins style
Yes.
muzzleloaders. I mean,
Yes.
really primitive weapons,
Yeah.
and they were jamming lead down those things.
Yeah.
Where lead was, you had a bullet that was the size of your barrel, which seems like what you would have because
Right.
that was all the technology for the last 500 years.
Had that or a patch ball. That's all there was.
Well,
for
I
a
mean,
long time.
yeah, you're right.
I'm saying that's all there was for.
Yeah,
when I first
you'd
started
use a
muzzleloader
patch.
hunting in the late '70s. That's the way it was. You either had a patch ball or you had this no lead ball, or you either greased it or just stuck it in there dry and shoved it down the barrel.
and the accuracy was very low with
Yes.
those.
Yeah. So when Dale started that, he kept working with it and then got to shooting, just a jacketed pistol bullet. Just still today, a lot of guys still use just a jacketed hollow point like a Hornady XTP or a Barnes XPB. So anyway, that's the bullet he started messing with and got him to shooting, and then had a product that was working. So when he decides to go to the SHOT Show and first of the year, he goes to Houston, Texas, and just so happens sets up a little booth, and Tony Knight was there, which Tony Knight is who Knight muzzleloaders. Well, that was the year that he introduced the MK85,
Which is an inline muzzleloader,
first inline muzzleloader.
which changed the game.
Yep, changed the game. So Dale and Tony was at the forefront of modern muzzleloading. That's kind of how that got started, and then
And I mean, he created the Sabot.
yes, he created. Yeah,
Sabot.
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 Now, I remember this from years ago. Us just talking about this, and there was some French folks. Well, the reason it's a sabot, that's a French
Yeah.
word. For what does that word mean?
don't get me to lying.
Okay,
Don't
well,
mean
it was
bullet.
a French word because they used it with cannons.
Yes.
So they would have like military cannons, but wanted to shoot a smaller caliber ball out of a bigger calibered hole, and so they somehow packed this
Sabot.
bullet in a sabot. Am I right?
Yeah.
And so that was kind of the idea.
Yeah.
And then Dale was like, "Hey, I'm gonna fabricate injection mold this little plastic
Yes.
packaging for a 45 caliber bullet to shoot
Correct.
out of a 50 caliber
Yeah.
muzzleloader."
Correct.
And what's the physics behind why that changed the accuracy of muzzleloaders so much?
I think the big thing was the quality of bullet. They get a little better bullet, getting them loaded better. And then at the time, whenever Tony invented the gun, it was so much ahead of everything else on the market. When you just have an old traditional Thompson Senate Renegade or Hawken, it was just pretty much
with not much rifling in those.
yeah, like a turn in 48. Then you have
And you got
Tony,
the new inline that has a twirl to it, and it really straightens everything out.
straightens everything out. Now it just worked. I mean, it just is a good combination for the everyday guy that wants to go hunting and is not wanting to reload, try to size bullets and things of that nature. There's a good combination for just a general hunter for sure.
And so he had the patent on that and still does.
He had the design patent when he first started, and then it went away. So,
Okay,
yep.
So,
Yeah.
but for decades, if you had I can't say it any other way, a saboted bullet
Yeah.
that
Yeah,
you bought
that's-
at Walmart, you were using one of Dale's MMPs, which is now Shane's company. You were
Yeah.
using one of their Sabots.
Yes.
I
Yeah.
mean, and you're still making them today,
Still make them today.
and still the leader in making Sabots.
We try to be. You know, we do have a competitor. I mean, they make a good product as well. I mean, I feel
No,
like-
they don't.
Yeah, well, I hate to down anybody, but you know, I think there's
Come on,
enough.
Bo looked
enough
at me
for-
like,
enough
are
for
you,
both of
are
us.
you being serious? Like,
You know, I'm not going to
Their
down
product is
anybody's
crap.
stuff.
No,
you know,
I hear you.
they might down mine, but that's okay. So
That's
no,
competition.
no. I just, it's an interesting story. So I
Yeah.
knew Dale. Dale has since passed away. I met Dale just a time or two through
Yeah.
you, hunted on his place, and he was just an eccentric, real neat old guy, just like
Wheels
super.
always turning.
I mean, super intelligent. Probably weighed a $140 sopping wet.
maybe,
Am I? Is that?
maybe, yeah. He at his heaviest in his life, he was probably 140. Yeah,
And
So-
he was he loved to hunt. I mean, was a serious hunter, whitetail hunter. Grew up over here in Harrison, Arkansas,
Mhm.
and kind of a genius. That's the way I remember him. Just with his ability, like with guns,
yes,
and I mean, just a genius.
yeah,
And I remember he said one thing to me that I'll never forget. I'll never forget it. It was at a time when in the outdoor space. I don't know why I was talking about this, but I just said we've kind of done everything that we can do. I remember saying it was a conversation,
Yeah.
and I was like, "There's no." Basically, I said there's no room to like have something new in the outdoor space because like everything's been done. I mean, we've got grunt calls and mechanical broadheads and air guns and rifles and pistols and I mean, I don't just camouflage and leafy camouflage and waterproof boot. Like, and I remember he said, "You're wrong. There will always be innovation.
Yeah.
Always.
Yeah.
No matter what. No matter which direction that you go in anything." And what it did for me was I believed him when he said it. He was just like, "Nah, there'll always be innovation." And I mean, it's like the world is just so big. Like there's just
Yeah.
always a way to be better.
yeah, and that's one thing that got me interested. And when Dale passed away, me and him had been talking about things, and and question him, and well, why didn't you do this, or why didn't you try this? Well, I'm not interested anymore. So he'd kind of lost interest, wasn't interested in doing anything, but I kept talking to him, and he's told me a few things. Well, I think this might work, or I think this may work. And I kept that in the back of my mind. And then after he passed away, and then they decided that the company was going to go up for sale, well, I don't want to just let it go away. You don't accomplish nothing if you don't try, so what's the worst can happen? I go broke. So what are they going to do? Take my name at that point, so, so anyway, we,
Bold entrepreneur.
so anyway, we come to terms and got it taken over. And then I have actually been working on some of the things that we've talked about, trying to make a little better product, different, not as much a design difference that you can see, but just improvements in everything that's available today. There's better materials, better machines, better mold. I mean, there's things that you can be done better that will work, I think, in more high performance guns better today than they maybe currently are.
Increase
Yeah.
the performance of
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
bullets and the way
And-
they shoot.
Yeah.
And now,
Of the Sabots.
Yeah, for sure.
good try.
I tried to say it.
So what does MMP sell that like I would buy as a muzzleload hunter?
Well, we sell bulk sabots or sabots, whoever we're
Or
talking to. Sabots, yeah. So bulk packaging of those, and then we do offer some bullet and sabot combinations for the guy that just wants to buy a 12-pack of bullets and don't want to go. We've got those, and we do handle a line of Athlon scopes, optics. They make some pretty affordable, pretty good scopes. For the price point, they're really good. So we handle those. That's kind of where we're at currently. looking about expanding into other things. Have more of your one-stop shop for muzzleloader stuff through the website, but kind of work in progress. Getting to that point, but
Yeah.
So
Cool,
you
man.
just don't sell like pellets or powders or any of that stuff?
no powders or pellets. It just seems like that there's so much taxes and hazmat fees getting them shipped in, and then having to turn around and reship them to somebody else. It's probably
Pricing's hard.
Pricing's hard. It's hard to get anybody a deal. Especially when Bass Pro and Cabela's, those kind of places
Have that such bulk that they go work with.
Yeah.
Speaking of hazmat, Bear, have I ever told you about the time my Pyrodex powder story?
Couple times.
Couple times.
Yeah. What do you use Pyrodex for?
Okay, good. I got an audience here. Well, yeah, for that one.
Yeah, it's on that same hill where this one come from. I remember it well.
do you remember this one, Josh? I love it when I got an audience. Okay. No,
I may remember it when it comes out, all of it.
One morning, it was late in the year. I was trying to kill a bear in National Forest on purpose. I was carrying a muzzleloader. It was late. It was right around Thanksgiving, and I remember it was a frigid cold morning, super cold, and I planned to walk the whole day, so I wasn't wearing a lot of clothes, and I didn't bring a big jacket or anything. I was just like, man, I'm going to be moving all day, and I didn't plan to I left the truck before daylight, didn't plan to come back till dark, and I was going to move most of the day. Well, when I got in there, it was just so dang cold. I got on the north side of this mountain. I was just freezing. I mean, I'm like mile and a half from my truck, and it's like 8 o'clock in the morning, and I'm just freezing.
And no sun in on that north side.
No sun on the north side. And I go, man, I'm going to make a fire. I'm just dying. And I'm on a slope as steep as a cow's face. And I take a flat rock and turn it up like this and put another rock underneath it and make me a little table. And I'm sitting on this hill, and so the hill's going up, and the table's right here. And all the leaves are wet on the north side, just sopping wet.
Right.
There's nothing to start a fire with. And I go, well, I've got some Pyrodex powder. And so I take out 100 grains of Pyrodex powder, and I mash it up like mortar and pestle on that rock and get a pile of Pyrodex powder about that big and about that tall. 2 pellets, 250-grain pellets. And I've got a little stack of half dry twigs like right here that I'm going to light that powder, and it's going to go and then I'm going to put those twigs on it.
Gently go.
And,
it went
and everything's going to be great. Man, I was wearing a pair of glasses, I remember, and I had a lighter, and all I remember is when I flicked that lighter, Mo, my entire vision was filled with fire. That is not a joke. I mean, I saw nothing but orange fire.
What did you think is going to do the way that fire comes out of the end of those barrels?
I don't know, man.
But no, you hadn't told me this story.
I just thought it was just going to just burn. Like just a little, just like, just have a little flame about that tall. That'd probably last about a minute and a half. And man, it just... I'm telling you, Bear, it was...
Sticks and twigs go everywhere?
Okay, now, I don't want to over-exaggerate this. I don't think it blew me back, but I jumped back, and when I was on that hill, I, landed 8 feet away, and my glasses flew off, and my glasses had embedded, sparks in the glass.
Oh, my God.
Or it was plastic lenses. That there were fire marks.
I'm glad you had the glasses
Were you
on.
still cold?
Singed my eyebrows. I was worked up so much after that it warmed me up. But it singed my eyebrows and burnt hair smell, But it didn't. I mean, it wasn't like any permanent damage. So anyway, Pyrodex powder. That's my Pyrodex story. And I proceeded to hunt the whole day and didn't see a single living animal.
Shucks.
Yeah. Yeah.
But that's bear hunting in the late season too.
Yeah, no doubt. No doubt.
That's awesome.
Bear, so the other day, Bear told me a story, and I don't even think he thought it was funny. And I just started cackling, laughing. Tell me about when you were mowing the other day. This has nothing to do with deer hunting. We're gonna get back to deer hunting.
Basically, I was mowing this yard in kind of like this little subdivision, old subdivision, and some guy comes walking down the road right next to me while I'm like getting a weed eater, and I could tell he looks pretty rough, but he walks up to me and I'm just like, "How are you?" And he's like, "I'm doing pretty good." And he asked me, "Are you a fisherman?" And I was like, "Matter of fact, I am." and he was like, "Well, I've got a deal for you." And he like just starts trying to
Bear
sell
is
me.
mowing. Then somebody's
Yeah, I'm
yard. This guy
working.
like stops him and is like, "Hey."
And anyway, he starts telling me about this Bayliner boat that he's got like just down the road. He says it's a full Bayliner, 16-foot or something with an 80 horse Mercury on it, and he'd sell it to me for $300. And I was like, "Well, shoot, my John boat needs a motor. If it runs an 80 horse Mercury for $300, like, come on."
The funniest
that's a good
part of
deal.
the story is that Bear then goes with the guy to check out this
So you followed him
$300.
down there to
Well,
check it
yeah,
out.
we start walking, and I start kind of asking him some questions about it, and he's like, he's telling me like, if you just take this thing to the car wash, you get some gas and a battery, you'll have it on the lake by tonight. And I was just like, man, this must be in pretty good condition. And we get pretty close to his house, and he's like, and I'll tell you what, I've also got this 2003 Mustang convertible. It's not in running condition, but if you've got the time, you can get it fixed up. I'll give it to you for $150. And I was just like, what on earth?
The items just start stacking up.
So
Like
I didn't see
unbelievable
the
deals.
boat.
Unbelievable deals.
Where's the boat on the lake?
But I could tell the guy was pretty rough, and I pretty much knew there's a catch, or this isn't what it seemed. So I kind of went in there knowing I wasn't going to buy anything, but I wanted to just check it out.
I mean, sure, yeah.
I mean, $300
Just
for
go
an
with
80
the
horse
drug
Mercury.
addict down the road.
Well, anyway, we get to the
It's
boat.
probably Mo's cousin.
Yeah.
Could be.
And it was just the junkiest boat I've ever seen in my life. Had like trees growing out of it, and was like, all the flat tires. And he told me, he was like, just bring a battery and gasoline,
So
and we'll get it
still-
started
still
up
a
in
good
5
deal, though.
minutes.
Chainsaw to cut the trees out of it.
Yeah. And I was just like, there is no way that thing would start. And then he said, well, I'll tell you what, I'll give you the Mustang and the boat for $500, which is $50 more.
All right, when you do that one in a stand-up comedy skit, that's your hook. All right, that's your hook. You say, and then he offered me a package deal, both of them for $500. I laughed when he told me that story.
That's hilarious.
Anyway, I told him, that's a little rougher than what I'm willing to work on. And he told me, he was like, put $100 down right now. I'll save it for you until the end of the
He's
day.
got a layaway program,
And I was
like
This
Kmart.
This dude needed some cash.
He needed it bad.
He needed some cash.
Anyway, I hated to leave him hanging. But
Bad part,
there
it
was
might
just
not
no
even been
way.
his stuff.
Yeah, no, it turns out it wasn't. Turns out it was his brother's. His brother he was talking to me like it was his, and then his brother pulls up and he says, "This boat is my brother's, and we're trying to sell it. We're trying to sell, all this stuff." And so like he kind of like switched the story when his brother pulled up, but it was his brother's, and his brother was gonna sell it.
Wow.
But anyway,
Now, son, this is why I wanted to bring this up publicly amongst the community here, is that if you'd have had a regular haircut, that man would have never profiled you as a drug user.
with the mullet cut.
Am I right?
that's
It's true.
No,
It is
no.
shorter. How much you cut off your hair, Bear?
good 3 inches maintenance cut. It'll be back in like 6 months.
Okay. That was a great story. That was a great story.
Bear,
Okay.
what'd
Okay.
I was going to ask Bear what he brought for show and tell today.
Well, let him tell a deer
Oh.
story. We're back on the deer.
Okay.
Tell us about Dan.
Oh, yeah. Well, I was going to get to this whenever we talked about the deer stories, but might as well start because there was a story about a gar holing somebody.
Oh.
And anyway, basically, we had this deer camp last year, and River, my sister's coworker, she invited him to come and hunt with us, and it was like one of his first times to ever hunt. And he had like good knowledge of how to shoot a gun and everything and basic safety. So, and he'd hunted before. So I put him out, in this like pretty good spot that I figured he may be able to see deer. It was opening day of rifle. And anyway, I drop him off there, and then I take me and then another buddy. We go and we hunt. We kill a nice buck. We come back and pick him up, and he shot a spike, and we were pumped. It was his first deer, one of his first times hunting. We were just glad that he was able to get one. So anyway, we have like 15 people at this camp, and we have some like prime spots, and so it's kind of like all the people that killed deer in the morning. It was like, they're kind of getting the gar hole pretty much. It was just kind of like
Bear was kind of telling people where to go.
Yeah.
So none of these people, few of them had ever even been to this place.
Yeah.
And so Bear's like, okay, you're gonna go here, you're gonna go here, you're gonna go here. He's
Kind of
like
acting like
setting
his
them out.
dad.
Yeah, telling people what to do.
Yeah. Anyway, so my buddy Dan, he kills his first deer, and he said, I don't need to be in a good spot. I'm just glad I got one. I just want to go hunt. And so I didn't even have a spot for him. I just told him, there's this, I described an area to him and told him, there may be some deer in there if you just go look for sign. And, he'd like almost never hunted. So he didn't, I couldn't tell if he would really know how to read sign or not. But I go hunt, we come back, and he has a big, wide 8-point on the bed of his truck. So he tagged out on bucks in one day, and it was his first time to ever hunt with
Out on
And
public
his-
land. In
yeah,
the
on
Ozarks.
public land, and his second one was a nice 8-point, real wide. Anyway, so he kind of like develops this
let's
name.
clarify, just because the audience may not exactly. We all may be on different levels of
What big
a
is.
really big one. I'd say it was 90 inches, but it was
Respectable.
For,
Respectable.
Yeah, no, I'm
yeah,
not
yeah,
degrading the deer. I just don't want people to get the
he
wrong
wasn't
idea.
like a 130-inch 8-point.
Yeah,
No,
it
it was
was
like
like-
a 2.5-year-old, but real wide.
Yeah, like it's probably 16 inches wide and a little 4-inch tines. I mean, a buck. Anybody.
Yeah. Oh, it was
the
the biggest buck we killed at the camp, and so he, he killed 2 bucks one day. He doesn't hunt with us for the rest of the season. He wanted to archery hunt this year with a bow, and so he got a bow like 2 weeks before season, and I took him out shooting, showed him how to sight everything in, and he gets to shooting pretty good, and he says, if y'all go hunting one weekend, I want to just come. He said, I still have deer meat from last year, so I don't really need to kill anything, but I'd just like to go. Anyway, so he comes, and I've got 4 other guys with me and we kind of like dish out the spots. And he was just like, don't give me a good spot. Because, he'd killed 2 deer and had only been hunting once. So he was
Right.
pretty happy with his success rate. And anyway, we put him, it was the same thing. I just had an area that I figured there may be some deer in. And anyway, he drove down there and he calls me right at dark and is like, and he didn't have a tree stand. He didn't have
hunting off the ground.
camo. It was his first
off the
time to
ground with
ever
a bow.
hunt with a bow. And he calls me at dark and is like, I just shot one. And I was just like, you got to be kidding
Another
me.
buck?
It was a doe.
Okay.
But
still.
he
Shot it off
hunted,
the ground.
yeah, he hunted
That's tough, isn't it, Mo?
That's tough off the ground.
at like 10 yards too. I basically just told him
Wow.
like, if one comes in, like draw away before it's close. And it's exactly what he did. And I mean, he just shot a deer.
So you're
I've never
basically
killed a
the
deer off the
world's
ground with a
greatest
bow.
guide.
I wasn't
the-
with him at all. I just,
Right, but you told him where to go. You told him what to do. You
Yeah.
taught him how to shoot. I mean,
Yeah.
Yeah.
He sent him to a place that he thought he might see something. So
Yeah. Well, that's a great story to get us talking about the deer stories. Mo, what was your favorite story?
well, there was 2 stories that was really good. A guy on there told both of them, and I think his name was Mo Shepherd.
I saw that one coming. Do you like how I put you right there at the end?
Yeah, he saved the best for last. That's
Yep.
what you need to do.
That's,
So
that's what
that
I
and
did.
clean up.
That's what I did. I got to tell you what Lake Pickle said. I decided I'd be
go
nice
ahead and
to
tell
you.
me.
He said we need more Mo Shepherd on there. That's what he
More
said.
Mo.
He said he loves the way you tell a story. So Lake's story.
Pathetic. Just kidding.
joke.
Lake's
I've
a
been making
good
fun of Lake.
storyteller.
Lake's a great friend of mine. He told a great story. The only reason I make fun of Lake, give him a hard time, is because he's such a nice guy. I don't think anybody else does. So I choose on my public platform to ridicule Lake Pickle with On X. Lake. All right, Mo, go ahead.
But yeah, you done a good job of cherry picking those stories on all of them. I mean, they were all really good stories. The short stories were good. The longer stories were good. But I think my favorite one was the first one that your friend Mitch
Yep.
told about the deer that he set up on and right there close to him, he thought he had a good shot. He apparently missed it. And then this other deer comes in and I've had that happen to me before, as far as a deer, you see a deer, then all of a sudden it just vanishes. And you're watching that area and you don't never see the deer again. You don't know where it went. And all it would take is take your eyes off that spot for 5 seconds and the deer can turn and walk away and you never know it left that spot.
Right.
Or they may stay there a long time in that same spot, especially old mature bucks that are woodwise. So
Yeah.
but I really like that story about that because of just the way it all progressed through, and he talked about his patience, and then he thought there's no way that little button buck could bend that deer, and well maybe it was because I never saw nothing else move after that, and then all of a sudden here comes that deer that he had first seen movement of 20 or 30 minutes, however long it'd been,
Yeah.
pretty
Man,
awesome
I
story.
think that happens all the time when guys get busted and never even know it.
No, they get busted out.
A deer just comes in, a big one will come in, and man,
It may pick up your scent, or it may see a movement where you've turned your head or something other.
yeah.
It could be several things, but you're right.
I think humans think about time differently than animals do. I mean, you've got to assume that they do. Like to us, sitting in one place for 20 minutes would be hard. And it would be hard because of a lot of different reasons.
we're on
just
schedules.
Our nature.
Even as we hunt, we're on schedules.
Yeah.
Deer's not on no schedule whatsoever.
He wakes up and he has 24 hours to survive.
To survive and then start the next day for him.
And so, I mean, that big buck, him sitting there for 20 minutes, I mean, most people probably would have got busted or the buck would have just slipped away. I think that button buck coming out saved him.
Yeah, I don't think the deer would ever come down there where he was at if that
Nope.
button buck, because I think it had smelt where he'd done all the stomping around.
Yep.
And it was trying to figure out, that's my thoughts on it.
Yeah.
That buck was standing up there thinking, is that guy still around here? Did he just pass through? What do I need to do to breathe the next day? And I really think deer think like that. I mean, I don't know, but they got to think some way or another to survive like they do out in where there's hunting pressure on them. So,
Josh, which was your favorite story?
Man, I really like Keith Polk's story.
Keith's story.
Yeah, I think it was one highlight after another, man. And I think for me, having been in an old crappy tree stand for years, you get up there halfway and you're like, crap, I can't, this thing is about to throw me out because it's tilted. And every one of us, I guarantee, have adjusted those tree stands up while we're up in the tree because we didn't want to climb down. And the way he talked about putting that wing nut on there and thumping it, you can just totally see that thing.
He did a great job of describing it.
But then from that to going to get his brother and then, rally racing back to get the deer. And then the way he described that vine going over the top of the truck.
Keith has a great way. He described, when somebody's describing something, some people could have just been like, well, a vine tore it out of the truck.
Right.
But he described how it went over the hood, over the glass, over the cab, and you kind of just envision, you can see it.
But I could see that, I could see.
Yeah, when they told said they took off with the tailgate down, I thought something's going to happen.
Exactly.
I didn't know what about it.
Exactly.
Something's going to happen.
Yeah,
exactly.
Did you notice that the 3-wheeler made an appearance in that story?
Oh,
yeah. What did he do?
I think
he just rode a 3-wheeler.
Yeah, I think he just had a 3-wheeler.
I think Keith put that in there just for me. Any story's gonna be better if it's got a 3-wheeler.
But I love the nostalgia of that story with everybody at the Shell station. You know what I mean? That takes me back. Just everybody sitting around with tailgates down, and unfortunately those days are pretty much gone. You know,
Yeah.
everybody wants to race to get their pictures on Instagram and Facebook as quick as they can.
The new shell station.
The new shell station.
That I put a picture of that. Speaking of the new shell station, I put
I saw
a
that
picture of Keith's buck. It was a nice buck.
Yeah, it was.
It was bigger than I thought. I thought he was gonna, the way he described it, I thought it was like, he acted like it was real big in their mind at the time.
Right.
But it was a pretty good buck.
It's a nice deer.
Even no matter who
But to
you
them,
are.
it was a giant because they were young hunters and
Absolutely
dandy deer. So,
Shane, have you ever fallen out of a tree stand, the climbing tree stand, or anything?
No, but I fell out of a hang on.
Really? How
Yeah.
far did you fall?
Well, my harness caught me, but
Oh,
I was 18 to 20 up when I fell out.
how'd you fall?
Fell asleep.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Wow.
Sure enough, just rolled out, sitting there with my elbows on my knees, and it was one of them, good cold days, and the wind hitting you right in the face, and when the sun started beating down on you, just dozed off, and I mean, I just fell out just head first, and
man,
harness
is that right?
harness caught me.
I bet that's woke you.
It did, yeah, no, and it took a little bit to figure, really sink in what happened.
did you have your tether at the right adjustment where you didn't fall plumb out of the stand?
No,
or-
I fell plumb out of the stand. I mean, I was, my chin was about at my platform.
Good old man.
I probably had that much slack.
I bet that was a chore getting back up in there.
I got Waller around there and got a hold of one of the steps, and then kind of, I don't, to be honest, I don't even know how I got back in the tree.
Yeah, I bet it was all adrenaline.
Yeah, but I do know whenever I done that and it kind of come, my bow was here on the hanger, and when I went to grab it, I grabbed something where I don't know what I thought I was grabbing at, but I had a hold of a string or cable enough that it derailed my bow.
Oh,
And
really?
I had to go home, repress it and put it back together. But yeah, it was a HTR, and it derailed it and bent one of the modules. So I don't know.
Oh, when you went to grabbing
Yeah.
for it.
Yeah, so I
grabbed it pretty hard.
I
so-
grabbed something pretty. Yeah, I grabbed it pretty hard.
What made me ask that question was thinking about Keith in a tree adjusting a platform.
Yep.
One time, Bear, I think I was 19, 1 year older than you. I went and was hunting on a cold day when there was a bunch of ice on the north side of a pine tree. I went up, like down low, there was no ice or snow. And when I got up to the top of this mountain to hunt, there was a skiff of snow on the ground, and there was a 1/4 inch of pure ice completely on the north side of the trees. And I had a Loggy Bayou climbing tree stand,
Mhm.
which Loggy Bayous had a metal strap with a rubber.
Rubber band. Yeah, just had a piece of
What-
rubber around that flat strap.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, that's the way I remembered it. It
Yeah.
was metal, but it had a rubber around the flat
Yeah.
strap. Well, I go to climbing this tree that's just covered in ice, and I get up. I mean, as high as I'm going to get, 18, 20 feet, and the rubber is grabbing onto the ice side, and it just wasn't a problem. Like you just kind of went up it, and it couldn't really slide because the teeth were biting into the bark
Right.
of this pine tree.
Right.
Well, when I got up there, you had to kind of stand up to get turned around to sit in the seat. And when I did, I took my feet off of that platform, and I didn't have a rope attached to it. And that platform just
went down.
it ratcheted like this all the way to the ground, just hit the ground. I mean, just straight down. And no, that is actually not entirely true. I was standing on it, and it went down, and I caught like right here. I had taken my weight off of it and then went back on it.
And that's when it started
And
down.
it went to the ground, and I went down, but my arms caught on the top.
Yeah.
If that makes sense. And so I'm hanging, and it just ratchets.
And you haven't gotten your harness hooked up yet.
I don't even think I had a harness at that time.
Yeah, that's probably pre-harness.
Yeah.
You just tied a rope around your waist.
Yeah, around the belt loop.
Yeah.
No, and so I'm setting up in this tree, big pine tree, like probably 18 feet, let's just say. And I'm comfortable, I'm safe, but I'm just like, what am I going to do?
He just went on hunting.
Well, I basically just wrapped my feet around that pine tree and would just lean forward as fast as I could and bring it down about 4 inches. And just, I mean, it took me 30 minutes, but I worked my way down.
Do you remember whenever I was like just learning how to use a climbing stand and I was like 13 or 14 right over there and it was real cold and I tried to climb like a red oak tree that was kind of like slanted and I got all the way up to the top and the bottom slid all the way
Same
down.
story.
Hard barked red oak.
Yeah, hard barked and it was cold and I was like 13
Oh,
or 14.
I had to come get you.
Yeah, you came with the climbing sticks.
Oh, I forgot about that. Completely forgot about that. And what'd we do? Just put the climbing sticks up?
Yep, and I just climbed down. It was like right next to the house.
I don't even remember.
Well, I know I'm the oldest one here, so I'll tell this little story. When I first started bow hunting, I was just a young teenager, and we didn't even know what tree stands were. And
Back in the 1800s, they didn't, did they?
Yeah. But I'd read a lot about, archery hunting, you're best if you can get up in an elevated stand above the deer. So I first started bow hunting for 4 or 5 years. You know how I got it, what kind of tree stands I sat in? I stood on limbs.
Yeah.
I actually stood on limbs with my recurve bow. And the first deer I ever shot, I shot standing on a big white oak limb on a white oak tree.
Oh, that's cool.
That's awesome.
And, I wasn't that high up. I was probably 10 foot off the ground or something like that. But
it worked.
Just enough.
It worked at the time.
That's some primitive hunting right there. With
primitive
a
hunting,
traditional bow crouched on a
and
limb.
then I think I was about 25 or 26 when I bought my first climbing stand. And
have you ever fallen out of one?
Never fallen out of a stand. I've done what he was talking about. I have dozed off a time or two, but that's something and it was on a lock-on stand, which you have nothing around you or anything. But I had my tether on my harness tight enough when I kind of leaned forward. When I dozed off and went forward, I think that's what woke me up. I felt it pull my shoulders like that.
So you didn't go all the way down?
No, but if I hadn't had a harness on, I would have fell out that day, I think, because I had dozed off.
Yeah. Yeah.
But that was several years ago. That was probably 25 years ago when that happened to me. So,
wow. Shane, what story stood out to you?
Well, I like them. I liked them all. They're all unique, in certain aspects. But I mean, really, and it ain't because Mo's sitting here. My favorite ones were Mo's
I'll be darned.
because I relate to what
Look at that,
what
man.
Mo does.
Yeah.
Someone did like your story.
Yeah,
yeah. That's the first person that's told me that. Clay ain't said a thing about my stories. So.
Yeah, he won't. But no, just because of knowing what the country's like over here where he hunts, and it's a lot like over at home. I mean, it's rough. It's big woods, hard to get to. Just everything about it I can relate. Just kind of relate to it. And it's you don't hear a lot of people, talk about hunting in our kind of country. Really very seldom. I mean, it's always you're either, in the South or the Midwest. It's a whole different, just a whole different
Hunting food plots or something like that.
Just a whole different hunting experience. And I mean, that's what I've grown up and done, and I relate to that. So I mean, I enjoy it when I hear somebody talking about it.
Yeah, I hear you. Which one did you like, Bear?
I liked Mitch Sykes, the one where he killed the big buck over the scrape. Whenever he talked about just seeing the deer cross the road and then like finding just a pocket of white oaks and then going up and finding those scrapes, it just got me pumped.
Did it for you?
Yep.
Yeah. That's all, huh? No more stories after that?
I mean, they were all good. I also liked yours, Mo. I mean,
he didn't want to say it.
He didn't want to
say
stretch
it.
and say it.
I didn't want to say it, but no, I did just because it was like, especially the one where you were walking and you see the buck down below you.
I hunt quite a bit like that, especially in muzzleloader or
when you can
modern gun
reach out and
season.
get 'em.
Clay knows that because we and him has talked about that a lot, and especially in places where deer get pressured. A lot of times they stay bedded up. I've killed 2 or 3 that I've watched get up out of their beds doing that same thing, not knowing I was there or maybe even seen me. And I've seen deer get up and leave and me never get a shot at them doing the same thing. But it's I enjoy hunting that way, I guess what I'm trying to say.
Now, what was the gentleman's name? It was somebody's the kid killing the deer where he's pushing the fence down with these horns.
Yeah,
Henry
his name is
Susong.
Henry Susong.
Yeah, Susong.
He
Yeah.
told a story last year, didn't he?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That guy is he is an incredible bow hunter. He lives in East Tennessee.
Yeah.
Hunting country like this.
Like here. Yeah.
It is not a destination whitetail
Yeah.
area at all. And but those guys also hunt Illinois. His he has a big room, way big, like twice as big as this room, that is just literally from the floor. I mean, he's got deer mounts starting about 4 foot on the wall that go all the way to the ceiling. Him and his boys are real good deer hunters over there, but they spend they kill a lot of them, and the big ones in Illinois. They got I'm pretty sure they had a 200-inch deer in there, and and a couple of 190s.
Didn't you put a picture of that last year?
I probably did.
I was thinking remember a picture of that last year after the stories that you'd put on, social media or something of that room with all those deer, and you said this is a room that'll impress anybody.
That guy, he's 82, and I mean just couldn't wait to talk about deer hunting. I mean, was just giddy. I mean, just like, we were coming down through there. I mean, he was such a great guy.
I love it.
Yeah. And then that little story, to me, sometimes those little funny stories are, I like them just because it's just something different, you know.
I really like Bob Wilson's Garhole story too. It's short, but it made me laugh.
Yeah.
Because I think we've all been in, like Bear was telling earlier, kind of a gar hole with his friend and that. I think we've all been in that scenario. If you've hunted very long, on both ends of it, you went with people that sent you to a place, and you was thinking, "Why am I here? I ain't seen a thing." And then you took people with you that this guy coming, I wasn't expecting him to be here, but we've got to put him somewhere to go. You know, so I think we've all kind of been in that scenario if we've hunted very much.
Yeah,
For sure.
Shane, what's your favorite deer story? Your personal deer story, like a big. If I'd asked you, what would you have told me? Would you told me about one of your big deer? Would you have told me about something funny that happened?
Yeah, I mean, I've got personally probably one of the big deer that I've killed, but since that time, it's when I've witnessed my boys shooting deer. I mean, it's just hard to wrap explain that feeling you get when you see one of your sons shoot his first deer, much less a 150-inch deer, which that's probably one of the better highlights. Is last year we had a buck that I'd found there pretty close to the house. Just showed up out of the blue. I don't know where he come from, because that's out of the ordinary for a deer like that to be there. And so my oldest son, he's killed a lot of stuff and a lot of big stuff. He told his little brother, said, "I'm gonna let you hunt that deer," and which was kind of shocking to me, because
that's pretty generous.
That's pretty generous, So anyway, me and Trenton, we hang a stand. I get everything set up the best I can for him, and we was hunting every evening we could, when season opened, and evening after school or when I get off work. But so on, I believe it was actually October 1st. It was one of them days, kind of like this past weekend. It was hot there at home. We get out there and get in a tree like at 4 o'clock and just freaking, burning up. And just went, why am we sitting here? Because it ain't. And just happened to look over. He said, "There's a deer coming." Well, I get to watching. Well, it's this freaking deer that we'd been, had got word of, and I had found him, got lots of pictures of him, and so I knew exactly who it was or what it was. Well, he comes out and he kind of bypasses us, but he goes through a strip and goes into a little bit of a mowed off field, behind us, and I seen where he went through, and there was kind of there's a swag in this field where they'll come back and forth across. And I don't know what he was doing, why he went over there out of the way. Went out. Next thing I know, we turned around, and here he's coming right back on the trail that comes right by us. And he comes in front of Trenton there at 18 yards, and I'm standing right over his shoulder, and he puts an arrow through him, and we watch him fall. And I mean, it's That's just the dangest thing.
Did you video it with your phone?
I was so shook up, Clay. I couldn't. I had it in my hand. I couldn't even get it out and
His video
turn it
in your
on.
mind though.
Yeah, I
wasn't you?
was. But yeah, so
That's cool. 150-inch deer.
147.
Wow, that's a heck of a deer.
Yeah, 9-pointer. If he'd have been, he had a really, really good frame. I mean, he could have been. He was a nice deer for sure. Really, really good deer.
Wow.
But that's probably one of the best. Just everything. Mainly probably because his older brother said, "Oh, I'll let you hunt him, and if you miss him, then I'm going to go kill him." Well, he didn't miss him, so I guess that was a good thing.
Oh, that's cool, man. That's cool. Well, Mo, have you made any more hunting stories since you told us that one?
Since I told you those, well, that was 8-9 years ago. So yeah, I've had several stories.
Well, no. Now we recorded you telling them like 2-3 weeks ago.
Oh,
have you hunted any this year yet?
Only one day is all I've been. One day with my bow, and I bear hunted one day with my bow. It's just been so hot, and
it has been
really
hot.
And
I don't remember the last time it rained around here.
I don't either. I was thinking about that today.
Where I live down here, north of Mountainburg, the last measurable rain we had down there was 7 weeks ago, and we got a little over an inch in 2 days span down there. We haven't had a drop since then. Our horse pastures are burning up. I'm feeding hay to our horses. And
wow. Josh, what's on your list?
I have some whitetail trivia.
Oh shoot, I forgot. Yeah, we're gonna end with some whitetail trivia. So you didn't know it, Shane, but you should have been listening.
I should have.
And whoever wins gets
this saddle,
a self bow from Bear.
Yep. Colt
Just
George
kidding.
saddle.
You ever gonna ride in that saddle?
I have.
Have
Look, you can tell it's getting a little patina on it.
Okay, I see it now.
Yep.
So
that's the saddle my buddy Colt
I just
George
remember
made me.
you told me when you got that, he told you that you better use it. So
And I have. I like to keep it in here on on the stand. You know.
It's a pretty cool saddle.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. Trivia. Let's go.
Okay, I got 5 questions regarding whitetails.
How? Tell us the rules. Like the first person to answer.
What I kind of want to do, I wish I had something for y'all to write on, because I want everybody to
give an answer.
Yeah, I want everybody to give an answer, and we'll see.
Well, we could be honest. We could be honest.
Should
and
we
give an
just?
answer.
Should we just? Oh, because I could say the answer and then Mo could cheat.
Yeah, but I want everybody to say an answer, even if it's the same answer as someone else. But be honest.
I ain't gonna answer the same way Clay does, because his answers is usually very good.
We're using the honor system here too.
Okay, honor system. Okay.
Okay. First question is regarding deer antlers. Okay, Bear and I were having this discussion. I think that.
Wait a minute. This is with the stories, right?
No, this is whitetail trivia.
A lot of people from this country call them horns.
Yeah, I know.
That's right.
Okay, I thought it was trivia about the stories.
No, this is whitetail trivia.
Okay,
about
I thought it was
deer.
whitetail deer.
I mean, we
deer
have
stories trivia would have been way better. But
we
go
have
ahead.
these whitetail hunters. They should know about whitetail.
Okay.
Okay. So deer antlers start growing mid-March to early April. Okay.
Where'd you learn that at?
They teach you that in college?
The internet, no, because I didn't see the inside of a college.
Well, I was told once that they start growing as soon as they shed their horns.
Really?
They start
Well,
from
you
that
obviously
pedestal down
haven't
there.
read the internet.
A deer biologist told me that, though, so he's probably wrong.
He's probably wrong. He didn't learn. How much can deer antlers grow in one day? 1/8 of an inch, 1/4 inch, a 1/2 inch, or a full inch?
Full inch.
Full inch
1/2 inch.
1/2 inch, full inch.
is 1/4 of an inch. A deer antler can grow up to a little over 1.5 inches per week.
Wait,
single
so how
shot.
does
you think about that.
How does like 190 inches of antler fit in like the 3-month growing season?
Do the math.
That's what it says. That's what a reliable source said.
An inch per day.
Internet.
No, 1/4 inch per day.
Okay, so let's do the math here. From April, May, June, July, August, 5 months, 30 days, 150 days.
That's an inch per day.
Well, okay.
I mean,
that
an
makes
inch every
sense
4
because
days.
not every single
Inch
time
every-
is 150 inches. So that's multiple points of that
Right.
antlers growing.
The
at different
total growth.
times.
Mm-hmm.
So I think it could work. Your question was,
Yeah.
I was with you.
I was with you
Now
on
I've
it too,
heard
Bear.
an inch a day.
I thought I had as well,
Yeah.
for sure.
And that might be like
The,
all
deer,
the
the kind of big deer me and Shane are killing, but we'll grow an inch a day.
Yeah. for
Okay,
sure.
question two.
Yeah, in your mind.
This one is fill in the blank, so you're gonna have to give me an answer.
Okay.
I don't know if you guys. So I spent a lot of time at the White River fishing, and in the fall, I see a lot of deer swim the river, even when it's flowing pretty good. And I'm always amazed at how
Now, is this Josh story time or
No,
is this a question?
This is the question. I'm always amazed at how good a swimmers deer are. Why is that? What characteristic about deer makes them
Make
them
somebody
good in the
answer
water?
first besides Clay this time.
Shane,
I've got my answer.
there is a characteristic about deer that makes them good swimmers.
I've never thought about that. Excuse.
Any guess?
I don't have a good answer.
Okay, Mo.
Their hair,
Okay, what about it?
the way it sheds water and stuff like that, it don't soak up with water.
Okay,
Webbed hooves. Gotta
I think Mo's onto it. I think it's buoyant hair. Like I know a deer hide, if you put it on water, I've never done it, but I can just envision it
be.
floating.
That is a good point because, like, you tie flies with deer hair gets hollow.
Clay and Mo got it. The reason
I
is
got it.
that
Clay
deer
just
hair,
copied off of it.
deer hair is actually hollow.
Okay,
Yes.
and so it's
And
buoyant.
they
buoyant.
say that the buoyancy of the hair of a deer will keep a third of its body out of water.
Wow.
Yeah. So
I know
that's
that
That
the
was a
answer.
pretty good question, Josh.
Okay. What is the max lifespan of a whitetail deer?
Now, there's got to be
in
a range
captivity?
here.
You're saying
because
max
there's no,
as
Max lifespan.
Like the oldest deer to have
Not the
ever lived.
oldest deer, but a max like general lifespan.
deer commonly live to 10 years old.
Okay. But is that max? Would you consider that a max?
15 max. So I changed my answer.
13.
I'm gonna say, and you're saying average for maximum life.
Well, yeah.
Well,
Not like the oldest deer in the world.
there's no such thing as an average maximum.
That's why I was asking.
Don't question the question.
I mean,
Don't question the question, Steve Ranella.
If you're getting the
You're pulling a
average,
state.
No.
You get a podcast and you got to question every
I
question.
say 10 years.
10,
I'm gonna go 10.
20. It's 20 years.
they can live probably in captivity.
Is it
That's
shorter
what-
for bucks?
I don't know. That's a good question. They said that deer typically live 3.5 to 6 years, but can live as much as 20.
Okay.
Okay.
Depends on where they're at too.
What
Yeah,
is
it's pretty
the
subjective.
what is the max speed of a whitetail deer?
35 miles an hour.
34.
36.
27.
30 is what they say.
Ah,
Yeah.
the price is right. What'd you say?
27.
That's close.
Okay, last question. And this one is definitive. There's no gray area here.
Okay, good.
How many states have the white-tailed deer as their state animal?
Oh, gosh. 7.
4.
2.
3.
What'd you say?
7.
The answer is 9.
Really?
9.
9 states, which would be Arkansas is the state
Ah.
animal, Illinois, Michigan, Mississippi, New Hampshire, Ohio, Pennsylvania, South Carolina, and Wisconsin.
Okay.
So
Okay. That was pretty good, Josh.
we had no winner.
No winner.
Yeah.
What do you mean there's no winner?
You guys all were terrible at answering these questions. Just argumentative, unruly. So there's no winners today. I'm not going to
So
pull
nobody gets this
Spencer
course.
Newhart here. There are
course you
no
have-
winners on bear grease.
But you have to look at
Trivia.
the source of the questionnaire.
Oh no, you don't.
Oh, that was pretty good. I like that,
Yeah.
Josh.
Okay.
Now, see, I thought it was going to be questions about the stories. Like
It's what
here would have been a good question. What procedure did Gerald Brewer take when driving his truck to try to obey the law when he was with his young mentee?
Now say again.
Procedure?
he took the cap. He took the caps off of his muzzle loader before he put them in the truck. That's what.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay, I see.
Gerald, bro.
Okay, another question would be I'm just shooting from the hip here. Okay, so Josh won. Okay, we're continuing the trivia. Okay. How wide was the spread on the buck that Mitch Sykes killed, the hide and seek buck?
22.
24, just right at 24.
Okay.
18.
I thought it was 18 too.
24 inches.
It was
It was
24.
24 inches wide. Yeah, see, this would be
Mo
good.
Shepherd.
Mo's listening. Okay.
Here, if you follow Clay Newcomb on Instagram, here's another question. What color was Mitch Sykes' Ford Ranger?
Was it gray?
He didn't even have a Ford Ranger on my Instagram.
The picture you posted.
I think he.
Oh,
might
no,
have-
I'm sorry. Keith Polk.
Keith
Polk.
Polk. That's
What
right.
color was Keith Polk's
Yeah, what color
Ford
was-
Ranger?
yeah.
gray.
I don't remember if I seen that or not.
Maroon.
It was tan.
It was tan.
It was
Classic tan
Yeah, yeah.
Ford Ranger.
Well, hey, this has been really good. Shane, it's been good to catch up with you.
you too.
Hey, where
for sure.
can people find MMP? Like, how do they? Who's the customer you're looking for here?
Just any muzzleloader hunter that's needing parts, just get on the website mmpsabots.com and check it out. And yeah, we would be proud to help you out. And you can even, our phone number's listed on there. You can even call us if you need assistance on anything that you may need or think you want to try.
Right on.
Good seeing you again,
Yes, sir.
Shane.
Thank you.
Maybe it won't be 12 years before we see each other again.
Maybe not.
Yeah, we didn't even talk about though where we, they met at an Arkansas Black Bear Association event.
Oh,
back
nice.
in the day. Yeah, in the
Back in the day.
early years. Yep. Mo, thanks for coming, man.
You bet.
I always
Enjoy it
appreciate you
anytime.
telling stories. They're always good. Appreciate it. Barry, you didn't get to talk about yourself, but what are you making?
We got
Just
an
real
elm
quick.
self bow that I'm working
Elm?
on.
Yeah.
Elm.
I absolutely
What
hate
kind of
elm.
elm?
I don't even
You don't
know.
have a clue, do you?
No, I just know it is the worst. To
Looks
work
like
with
white
compared to
elm to
Osage.
me.
Now, why
If
are
I
you
had to
making an
guess.
elm self bow?
It's just the only dry stave I have.
Oh, really?
I won't have another
Is
one
that-
for like
is
2
that
months.
A traditional thing to make it out of elm or not?
I mean, people make a lot of elm bows,
okay.
but it's not. I don't.
The poor folks.
Yeah.
Have you studied it? Have you studied
can't
any
afford
on
photos.
sassafras wood?
I've heard some guys make them with sassafras,
Yeah,
but
that's why I was asking you because I've known of some being made out of sassafras.
it's had to be a pretty big sassafras.
That's pretty
tree.
sad when a young
I
bow
can show you
got to
some
make a
sassafras.
bow out of elm wood.
I can show you some sassafras that's big around.
Oh, really?
Yep.
Dang.
That'd be good. Well, yeah, appreciate it. Good to see everybody.
Yes, sir.
And hey, next week we're starting our Osceola series. We're getting
be
back
good.
in all the bear greasers that feel like they kind of got to take some time off and enjoy the podcast, like the stories and stuff. We're getting back on track, and we're doing some hard hitting history that means something. Okay. No, we've been working on this for like a year and a half.
Yep.
I read my first book on Osceola a year and a half ago. And,
Also, not to foreshadow, there's a potential of some inductees into the Bear Grease Hall of
oh
Fame.
yeah. So no, I'm real excited about the Osceola series that's going to start like next Wednesday from when you see this. But also sometime in the next month, Bear, when Misty's here, Brent's here, probably get my dad up here. We're going to do an official induction into the Bear Grease Hall of Fame. It's been like 2 years since we've done a Hall of Fame induction.
I didn't realize that was an official event.
Oh yeah,
I
everybody
thought
wears
it was
suits
just-
and
oh,
stuff.
Black tie
Shoot.
+1.
Yeah, it's a big deal. It's been a couple of years, and we've got a couple of candidates.
You done
to
a haircut?
discuss.
You didn't know it just for it.
Yeah, you probably have to get a haircut for that.
Another one.
Another haircut. All right, guys.